Writing a feature-length movie is hard. I gotta do something else. I can't do this anymore. I need to take a break from writing this movie. It's exhausting. Well, looks like I haven't uploaded in 2 weeks. Oops! You know what? I should make a video. I need to stop slacking off on those. There's a lot of movies I need to see. What to see, though? What to see? Oh, hey, what's this doing here? Lego Ninjago is the third Lego film in these Lego movies that they've been doing ever since 2014, and it stars Dave Franco, Jackie Chan, and it is basically about this world of Ninjago, about how there's this city called Ninjago with some ninjas that stop this bad guy from going in the city and doing bad things. And he's kind of like Bowser and Mario, where he kind of just keeps going back. He doesn't know why. He just keeps going back trying to conquer this city and failing every time. So these ninjas, these 5, I think, ninjas that there are, or 6. I think it was 5 or 6 ninjas. I don't even remember how many there are. That's a great start to a review. One of these ninjas is the villain's son, and so he basically ends up having to try to, like, form a bond with his father and turn him good and all that, and it's Lego Ninjago. So guys, if you don't know, I've been a big fan of both Lego movies that have come out already. We've had the Lego movie in 2014, which is probably as good of a Lego movie as we're ever gonna get. That is the best possible result you can get from making a movie about plastic connectable blocks. A lot of people going into the Lego movie thought it would be like a lame product placement, kind of like the Emoji Movie, and the Emoji Movie actually is a lame product placement. That's as lame as movies can get. But Lego Movie actually turned out to be a movie with tons of satirical humor, really memorable characters that you really love, and it had a message that was really touching. Lego Movie opened up to tons of possibilities, which is why they started making more. They made Lego Batman, which I also loved. That movie was satirical, it was genius, it was a parody of Batman, it had a great message. Everything about that movie I loved as well. You know, I thought about something before I saw Lego Ninjago. I thought about the fact that in 2014, my favorite animated movie of that year was the Lego Movie. And my favorite animated movie so far of 2017 is the Lego Batman movie. Legos. Lego animated movies have been the animated champions of 2 years this decade. That's kind of crazy. I never thought I'd say that ever in my life. So Lego Ninjago I was looking forward to because the other two were so good, like I said, and this movie is by far the least of the 3. And I'm a little bit sad to say that because even though I knew it wasn't going to be a satire like the other 2 movies, like it's its own original thing, I still hope this movie will hold up to the other 2 films. But it doesn't quite do that, but it is kind of a decent watch. This movie is an enjoyable watch. Even if you're an adult, you might have some enjoyment in this movie because I didn't find it bad at all. I just found it fine. It's a decent, fun movie with a lot of good things about it and some things that aren't very good. Even though I thought this movie was decent, I still kind of understand why it has a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes because this movie is by far lesser than the other 2. And let me get into the reasons why, but first, I gotta go through the pros. Once again, I gotta mention the obvious. One of the reasons Lego Movie is one of my favorite animated movies of the decade is because the animation style was incredible. It's all CGI, but it looks like stop motion, and it was really cool that they went through the time to make the animation actually look like that. And Lego Batman went through the same animation style, but this movie, it also has that animation style too, but they also had to put something in the movie. Like, you've seen it probably in the marketing, and it's sort of like a live action thing interacting with CGI animation, and that looked great. It looked real. I literally don't know if that was a real whatever that thing was, like, actually filmed and somehow with movie magic they put it into a Lego world, or it was just a CGI thing. It was impossible to tell if it was CGI or a live action thing. I'm being very vague about this because I don't want to spoil it to anyone who hasn't seen it, but it is a really cool addition to the movie, and it looks fantastic. There wasn't a single moment that I thought, that looked fake. It actually looked so good, and the sequences involving this thing were some of the best parts of the movie. Also, a lot of the characters were pretty good. Lloyd, played by Dave Franco, I thought was just fine in the movie. He wasn't like anything great. He was kind of like a hero we've seen many times before, but he did have his really good moment. My favorite characters in the movie were Jackie Chan and the villain. They were a lot of fun in this movie. They had a lot of really funny moments, and they were easily the funniest part about this movie, those two characters. I really enjoyed their back and forth when they had scenes together, and I really enjoyed the scenes that they were in. Some jokes, not all of them, there are quite a few jokes that fall flat, but there are a few jokes in this movie that had me gut-busting laughing. I'm serious. There are some jokes in this movie that are really well done. They are really funny, and I'm gonna remember them. One of the jokes that is running throughout this movie involves the Wilhelm scream. So if you love the Wilhelm scream, that'll be happy to see, because it is a very funny moment. That is a reference to the Wilhelm scream, and the Wilhelm scream is great. It's played several times throughout the movie, and that was really cool to see. It's got a few heartwarming moments. It also has some really fun action scenes. Like I said, the animation really aids to that, but all three LEGO movies have really fun action scenes. There's a lot of really fun action scenes in this movie, and kids will adore this movie. Kids will probably, maybe even like this better than the other two, because this movie is mostly geared toward kids. While the other two were more geared towards families and Batman fans and film fans in general, this movie is more geared towards the kid audience, which I guess isn't a bad thing, even though I would have still liked some adult humor in there a little bit more. There's a few times they have a few adult jokes, but I would have liked a little bit more to challenge adults. Like the Lego Movie and Lego Batman, they were actually kind of challenging movies. They got you thinking in a way, which is really crazy to say about Lego movies, but it actually did. The first two had some really good themes to that could really make the adults go, wow, this is more than just a product placement for LEGO. This movie, even though it does have like one or two adult jokes, and there are some jokes that really work in this movie, is definitely more geared for kids, which was kind of disappointing. Another thing that disappointed me about this movie is that even though Lego Batman and the Lego Movie could be predictable at times and a little bit conventional, they really made fun of that. They were very satirical about films in general in that movie, and when they did something predictable, they didn't shy away from making fun of that, and I really loved that about those two movies. This movie doesn't really do that. It's got tons and tons of predictable scenes. There are so many predictable scenes in this movie, and it was kind of disappointing because the other two movies, even though they did have some conventional things about them, were able to consistently surprise you with their humor and their themes and their making fun of the predictable elements. There were so many moments that were able to surprise you in those movies. In this movie, it feels like a movie that you've seen before. You've seen movies like this before, and it also has the exact same message as the first movie. Like, the character has to find something within himself, and like nobody really likes him, and he has to like figure out a way to become important. It's the exact same theme that we saw in the first movie, even though Lego Batman had a different theme, so they should have stuck with making different themes in each movie, but they kind of just had the same exact theme as in Lego Movie, except not as clever or as well done. Like I said, even though there is humor that works, there is some humor that comes off as really awkward and weird, and there is a few jokes that I was literally like frowning in the theater, like how did they think that was funny? Because the other two Lego movies were constantly funny. And this time, there's a few jokes that are referencing butts in a not clever way, just for the sake of referencing butts and child humor, like farts and stuff. And that was disappointing, given the other two movies that had so much clever humor about them and consistent laughing. This having awkward humor and having a few humor that was only geared towards kids and not very clever at all was kind of turning off for me, because I love the humor in the other two movies. And like I said, there's like 6 ninja heroes. They're kind of like the Power Rangers going to save stuff, and Lloyd's the only one that gets any development, the main green ninja who's the son of the villain. All the other characters are just kind of there to be comic reliefs, and I never really laughed at them. They just kind of felt useless throughout this movie. If they had been cut out of the movie, I probably wouldn't have cared. Or even if they could have just given those characters something more than just be silly comic reliefs, then I probably would have cared a little bit more about them. But in this movie, they felt kind of pointless, unfortunately. Overall, I think Lego Ninjago is a fine movie. It's easily the least of the 3, but it's got some fun moments. It's got some really enjoyable things for kids in there, but it does follow a similar message, and the humor isn't as good, and it's very conventional, but it is a decently fun time with some really enjoyable sequences, so I'm gonna give Lego Ninjago a B-. It's a decent movie. If your kids really like Legos and like the Ninjago TV show, they should really check out this movie. They will love the hell out of it. But if you're an adult and you wanted something more challenging, kind of like the other two movies, and something a bit more satirical, you're not gonna really get that here. I'd suggest skip it. Well guys, if you like my review of Ninjago, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I do apologize for there being a lack of content recently. I need to see a lot more stuff, and also it's mainly because I'm writing a feature-length movie. Like, that part of the skit wasn't a joke. I'm actually working on writing a feature-length movie right now, so that has been eating up tons of my time. High school, all those things have been eating up tons of my time, so videos haven't been as frequent, but I'm gonna try to see more stuff. Blade Runner, also some stuff I need to catch up on. There's a lot of stuff I need to catch up on, actually, but I'm gonna bring more stuff throughout the end of the year. I also have some really cool plans for some really big videos later this year, and I'm really excited to share those with you when the time comes. So, yay, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.